This is Rudy Giuliani with America's Mayor Live. And I have here a national intelligence report. You'll see that there are appropriate little blackouts throughout it for, like here, you don't almost get nothing, right? But if you read through it, this is about as shocking a development that you could have in the course of American history. I'm going to make it really simple. You can read through this, and over the next, I am sure the next couple of months, we're going to have plenty of time because this can be investigated very thoroughly. This is a shocking development, only muted by the fact that this involves the first black president of the United States. It doesn't matter if he's the first black president, the second black president, the third black president, the first white president, the pink president, the yellow president, brown president. The mixture of brown and white, the whatever. I don't give a damn what he is. When Trump said he was a traitor, it may have technically been an incorrect description. It was morally absolutely on target. The guy sold out his damn country. He basically, I mean, you want me to sum up all these reports? I mean, they're about 1,000 pages. Here's one very good summary of it. He told the FBI and the CIA and even his little ass slickers, Brennan and Clapper, to change the evaluation of American intelligence, that the whole Russia thing was a bunch of crap, and to play it up so that they could bang Trump and maybe get him out of office. Remember, this all came up. I know the history of it probably better than anyone because it all came up and it was outlined in one of my podcasts with Lushenko as a way to get Trump out of the election. May have had an earlier genesis, but we could trace it back to January of 2016 in the White House when Chiarella is the guy who falsified the whistleblowers report about Trump extorting Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, when in fact every fact that was alleged was false. He was the whistleblower that that Senator Shifty Schiff was going to use. And then when it turned out that it was proven he was lying, he hit him back, and he's never admitted that it's Chiarella. But Chiarella is of interest because he worked for Biden in the Obama White House as his representative on the National Security Council. And somehow, some way, he remained with Trump as a traitor and a liar. Well, this Chiarella, way back in January of 2016, according to the testimony of several Ukrainian prosecutors that no one has ever deemed worthy of calling, including our intrepid Republican investigators, who would probably lose a game of Clue if you played it against them. They never bothered to, even talk to him or find out about this. I mean, the reality is he told a group of 4 prosecutors, at least at one time, all 4 of whom were willing to testify about it. 2 certainly are now, and they're under oath already. He told them to go dig up dirt on Manafort and Eric Jr. And they did. And it ended up in the case against Manafort, which was a case that had been closed earlier. They reopened it by putting together a false book in which people theoretically signed for bribes, which you know how much evidence there is that that's a false book? If you go and I did a special on OAN about that. I don't know, 40 witnesses, including every handwriting expert you could find, FBI and otherwise. Best proof of it is in all the trials that they had, including the fixed trials in New York and the fixed trials by the Biden Justice Department. They never used the document because it was declared as a complete phony by the FBI, even the then crooked FBI. It couldn't pass even their muster. So this was going on for quite some time. What Tulsi Gabbard's report or reports indicate is what we know anyway, but Obama was behind this. He was giving it the support and the impetus that it needed to get by the many times it was contradicted. Because this thing came up, and the first thing the FBI did back in 2016 is go investigate it. And you see here in the reports, the first conclusion they come to is not true. But they can't. I mean, they had spent a lot of time on this. They had paid $1.1 million for it, and probably a lot more for the lies. They should have known they were lies because the guy who wrote it about Russia, but hadn't been in Russia for 17 years. He wrote it from Ukraine. The collusion they're talking about with Russia and Trump was really collusion between Ukraine and the Democrat Party with such astounding facts that should have blown your mind away and taken away any suggestion of the other, but not with the crooked press that we have. That the ambassador from Ukraine to the United States stood up and endorsed Hillary Clinton for president. And we're talking about Putin is trying to make Trump president, and these guys are endorsing Hillary. You know how much crooked money they raised for? And they developed a completely false ledger book so that Manafort could be put on trial, in which that ledger book was never even used at the trial because it turned out to be a forgery, which I proved beyond a reasonable doubt. You can watch it. OAN television has it, and I have it on my podcast. Numerous Ukrainians came along and looked at it and said, that's not my signature. That's not my signature. It was not Manafort's signature. The Democrats presided over all of that. That's at the background of these reports. Because what happened is, as soon as Hillary paid Steele through the Perkins Coie law firm, piece of shit law firm, a money laundering law firm. And I know everybody, crying over these law firms, but these are the people that wouldn't even represent Trump people, and you're supposed to represent, anyone who's in trouble. But I mean, these are just. What's a bar association that I should have written a letter back when they threw me out saying thank you. Who wants to be associated with a bunch of these K Street? What do you call them? What do you call these people? The people who sell out their country for money. Get you killed if necessary, like during the pandemic. So here's the report, and the report is very, very, this is one of the reports. This is the shorter version of it. There's a longer version of it too. And basically, let me just tell you what it points out. What it points out is that the FBI was investigating Russian collusion. They were coming back and saying it wasn't, Russian interference was not true, categorically not true. They were eventually told not to put that out and go back and take a better look at it. And they came up with a bunch of bullshit for Obama that they all knew was bullshit. And Obama kept it going. So it stayed alive during the election. And then even worse than that, they all supported it as it merged into a possible impeachment of the president based on not only false testimony, but testimony that had been purchased. That's the president of the United States. Barack Hussein Obama, who hated our country. He will go down in history as one of the few presidents that hated America and who had a wife that hated America even more. Now, Donald Trump accused him of treason, and I will, as a lawyer, tell you it would be very far-fetched to see this as a case of treason. This is a case. I mean, you could see it as a case of insurrection, particularly when it reached the stage that Trump was elected. So you could see it as that, but more than likely you'd see it as a case of fraud, even a case of extortion, because a lot of it was being done to try to force him out of the election, to put him in a position where it would be too embarrassing for him to continue. So the president's call for an investigation of Obama is in the national interest. This is a national security issue, if it's nothing else, and it should never happen again. And we should never be as foolish as to elect a communist-trained, complete incompetent to be president because we're all excited about the color of his skin. We've got to be more substantial, honest, and decent people than that. So I believe that this is going to play itself out. And I think it's going to get to a conclusion very similar to the others. It's going to be proved to be a complete frame job. I also think the Wall Street Journal has got to be out of its mind with the letter that it posted about Trump and Epstein, I don't know, 35 years ago, exchanging some kind of a stupid letter about women's breasts or whatever the hell it was. Where's the letter? Where's the letter? So when Trump says, show me the letter, I don't remember any such letter. I never wrote any such letter. Show me the letter. I don't know. I mean, here's the letter. No letter. You think maybe shouldn't, when a newspaper, if that's the case, right, and there is no letter, shouldn't the newspaper be dissolved? I mean, the Daily, the Washington Post and the New York Times should have been declared dissolved after they covered Russia collusion. Right. And they never apologized for it.
Right.
So
that's right.
I want you to know that Ted and I are here in great danger. Here we are in Maine. Maine, we're right near Maine. We're going to go to Maine next weekend, I think, or the weekend after. I'm not sure. Weekend after. Yes. Okay. So
we're close to Maine right now. People don't realize how close we are. We're closer to Maine than Boston.
From Maine. We're 10-minute ride, and we're over the border. And we did it once. So if you look at the screen, you're going to see my guests that are literally maybe 200 yards from my bedroom. I know that's not exactly the best. There they are. There's a whole bee thing there, and we're trying to figure out what the right thing to do with that is.
I think we keep them. But we should probably alert the...
Ted, could I ask you this? You know enough about bees to tell me, did they make that?
I'm not an expert on bees, but I do believe they made that thing. That right there is a bee. They made that. I'm not sure quite how, but I do believe that that's a bee's nest. I wonder if it'll get larger over time. I want to keep it just to kind of like
we'll keep you up to date on it.
Comment below. We have such a well-educated audience full of.
They should let us
know below. What do you know about bees and their?
Can we do anything practical with them that'd be helpful?
Bee's nest. Elizabeth tells us to be careful.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Well, on that note, Mayor, we have a special guest, an old friend of the show, Cameron Kinsey, and she's an expert. I mean, she's so young, but she is an expert on national security matters, and she's been following this Gabbard story. Well, really, it's an Obama Russian hoax story this whole time. So let's bring on Cameron.
Let's put her on. I thought she was going to tell us about bees, but we could accept that.
Yeah, Cameron, you know anything about bees?
I do not. Sorry, I'm fixing my camera at the moment. It's not cooperating properly. I don't know too much about bees. I'm in California, so there's not a ton of bugs here. So I was just in Kentucky though, and mosquitoes were swarming me. So not fun.
So tell us what you think.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is the beginning of accountability for Americans, what they demanded on November 5th, Mayor. I think this, wasn't just some vague election cycle. I think it was a mandate, and the majority of voters said enough is enough. And I think this is the accountability that really people were wanting to see the entire time. We saw the DOJ being weaponized against President Trump. Morale amongst our military was at an all-time low. People were starting to wonder, and question the integrity of these three-letter agencies for the first time. And so I do think that was awakening of why people elected President Donald Trump. And I think what better way to hold Democrats accountable than having Tulsi Gabbard herself, a former Democrat, a former a veteran, come out and speak out against this corruption, essentially. And so I think we're gonna actually start seeing accountability coming, and especially that's needed within the justice system, since we saw that weaponization against President Donald Trump. We saw FBI target parents at school board meetings. People were just not trusting our government as a whole. And so, we're finally seeing that declassification of documents that prove what we long suspected.
Well, I think that's really true. It's it seems like it's taken a long time to come out, but it's maybe this is the only point it could have come out of. Obviously, it wasn't going to come out at any time during the Biden administration, and it takes a little while to pull it all together. And the report is quite overwhelming. It is quite clear that they changed the facts, or let's put it more bluntly, they lied in order to fit the scenario that Obama wanted, and that allowed them to carry forward this attempt to unseat Trump beyond stopping him for the presidency, but to take him out as a lawfully elected president. So when he uses the word treason, even though it might be not technically the right word, what he's talking about is a coup. They're using false evidence to dislodge a president. Terrible. I don't know if that's ever happened in America before.
I know. And I think, we often, as Americans, we talk about how corrupt other countries are, Mayor. We talk about rigged elections, deep state interference, misinformation campaigns that we've seen in the past. But I think this scandal actually also proves that we're not immune. Our own intelligence community withheld and manipulated intelligence, essentially, just days after an election to try to delegitimize an incoming president. And so, that's not democracy, that's sabotage. And so we know that the Steele dossier, wasn't just flawed, it was completely discredited. And yet, it was used as a justification to surveil American citizens and launch investigations, try to paralyze the country. And so I think that this is a real wake-up call. And, Tulsi's declassification, lays bare what many in the political class had hoped that we would forget. And, the people who claimed to defend democracy essentially were the ones who were tearing it apart from the inside out. So I don't think that we've ever really seen such a discovery before. And again, look at who the messenger is, in this instance. So, I think that's what makes this moment even more powerful for Americans, because Gabbard wasn't a Trump loyalist. We have to remember that. She wasn't a Republican operative either. She's a former Democrat veteran, somebody who stood on the primary stage, next to Joe Biden. So, the left used to praise her until she started asking the right questions, right? So I think, you know, she's at the heart of one of the most damning declassifications we've seen in years. You know, that
Wow.
matters. And I don't think it's partisan.
No, I think it's remarkable. I mean, I think that she is someone, unless you got yourself all messed up, has got the purest of motives. I mean, she's with Trump for the good of the country. I mean, she came to the conclusion that any rational person would, particularly being on the stage with that idiot, that the guy can't be president. And not only was he demented, but he was, even if he hadn't been demented, he was making terrible decisions that were putting our country in jeopardy. So it took quite a thing for her and for Kennedy to come over. And therefore I think that, and this is her area of expertise. And I'll tell you, finally, we all knew it anyway.
Exactly.
We all knew it. I mean, it's not as if, I mean, yes, you have to get the proof, and I'm not minimizing that at all. But I wasn't exactly surprised over the last 2 days. Really, I mean, when I was representing him, I knew this was true, and I knew who was running the show. And Obama and his two little gangsters, Brennan and Clapper. Well, one has brains and the other doesn't. I mean, Brennan just slaps him around. He says, you do this, you do this.
Mm-hmm. No backbone. I think this is amazing. Like, we have to remember what this means for everyday Americans too, who voted for President Trump. You know, the ones who were mocked, you know, people were banned from different platforms, deplatformed, you know, for simply questioning this hoax. You know, people lost careers. They were labeled as extremists. And really it lost their livelihoods, probably lost friends, probably lost, you know, family members going to different Thanksgiving tables, you know, or foreign agents pointing out inconsistencies in the official narrative that we saw, driven by the legacy media, by big tech, you know, by government actors who all work together for this cover up to silence this dissent. And so now we know why. And like you said, we knew the entire time. And so this is truly a wake up call. You know, they couldn't really afford for the truth to come out. And so her release just affirms, like you said, what millions and millions of Americans felt and that they were right to question it the entire time. And hopefully this is a wake-up call for people. It's okay to question the government.
I sure hope so.
And now, you know, the very people that were trying to silence them are being exposed. They're for staging one of the biggest political smokescreens in modern history. So I think this is incredible, especially coming from Tulsi Gabbard, and especially since, you know, of what we've seen in the headlines the past couple of weeks too. We have to restore trust in our justice system and make sure that we're upholding the rule of law.
Well, thank you very much, Cameron. Excellent report.
And
thank you.
Real quick, Mayor, before we go, for people that don't know this about Cameron, I believe she was the youngest member of the president's first White House staff, and she's just such a star, an expert in national security matters, and she's been
did a great job.
Yeah, and she's really one of a kind, Mayor, and I encourage everyone to follow her on.
You just have to put in the Chiron next time, not national security expert. Just say Mayor Giuliani's biggest fan. And I think that's the only thing that needs to read in the Chiron.
Thank you, Cameron.
That's why we keep having Cameron on.
Very impressed.
She's great.
We'll
talk to you soon, Cameron. But give her a follow. She's great.
Absolutely.
On X, and you'll see her on Fox. I don't know if she goes on Newsmax, but she's out there, and boy, is she a rock star.
So is it time to take a break?
Let's take a break, and we got to pay the bills. We got to pay the bills. So we'll be right back after these messages.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. It is a significant and important thing that we have to focus on when one president accuses another president of trying to attempt to organize a coup, really, and to use purchased false evidence to remove him from an office that he was elected to by the American people. That's what happened here. We can call it anything else we want to call it. This is about as serious a crime as an American president has ever committed. It's, as far as I know, the biggest crooked manipulation of the American government that I've ever seen. I don't know anyone else, any American president or would-be president that ever attempted to distort our form of government by totally corrupt means. That's what he did. And that the American public is not allowed to really absorb it as a way of preventing it from happening in the future is another indication of how corrupt our society is, and how intimidated they are. The election of Obama himself was a disgrace. He had no qualifications for the office, and he had a number of things that argued against his being a good American president, including his failure to have much really regard for this country. So the press, rather than cover this, wants to cover Epstein, which is fine, cover Epstein. But don't give me 40,000 copies of the same picture of Trump and Epstein from 45 years ago, when it's quite obvious they hadn't seen each other for 20 years, and Trump threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and the golf course when Billy Clinton was hanging around with him so much that he's got a picture. Epstein's got a picture in his home of Billy Clinton in a dress. Doesn't have a picture of Trump in a dress. And Billy Clinton was on that plane. We don't know how much. I have a hard time following what he's admitting, what he's not admitting. I remember the number at one point was that Clinton was on his way to Pervert Island 27 times. That's a lot of times for you not to know what the hell's going on. Trump went to Pervert Island all of no times. The times on the airplane were preceded before he was in trouble, and they had to do with getting a ride back to New York, I would imagine, at that point, on Epstein's plane, which was quite common among members of the club because they all had private planes, and if one was being fixed and you needed a ride, you would get it. And since planes have to have a certain number of hours up in the air, unless you travel on it that month, you sometimes don't care. You can have my plane. Why not? He's got to fly to New York anyway. In any event, those were the two events on which he was on the plane. There's no indication that the two of them did anything toured together. Though was it a letter or an email that they put out between the two of them, Ted? It was a letter, right? It was a letter, which, even if true, would really amount to nothing. It was two guys kidding around about sex, not about children, not about underage sex, not about anything like that. It seemed to me from the first moment that I saw it, out of character for Trump. Not that Trump is a saint, I'm not telling you that, but I know where he is and where he is. He's not a jackass. That was kind of a jackass thing to do, the kind of things they were saying back and forth to each other. It sounds like something that somebody would make up to make Trump look frivolous. But in any event, Trump denies it. The Wall Street Journal fails to produce it. The Wall Street Journal had a letter that they described. Where is it? They're not telling us. Did they see it? Do they have it? Did they keep a copy of it? Did they investigate the bona fides of it? It seems like the answer to all those is no, which is the reason why he's going to probably collect a fortune from it. But, it's going to be, it's never too late, but something's got to be done. I mean, we got to get disciplined. The American people have to have some degree of confidence that when they read something, there's at least a chance that it's true. And this one looks like we're back to square one, Russian collusion. Now, something strange happened in the Ukraine. Don't know why. I spoke today to the mayor of Kyiv, Mr. Klitschko, former heavyweight champion of the United States, of the world, United States too. But he's not a big fan of Zelensky, I might add. Although he's not a big enemy of Zelensky either. He sees the weaknesses of this man. But why Zelensky removed the two anti-corruption bureaus within his government, I don't know. Now, had he done this way back when they were formed, he'd have been a patriot. This is the weirdest. So I'm going to give you a lot to think about on this. So these two agencies, you know how we have special prosecutors? So the idea developed in Eastern Europe, mostly from Soros's people. This is a Soros creation, this thing, that you should have a special prosecutor's office and a special investigator's office. So there would be specially designated investigators to investigate the highest levels of corruption that might frighten an ordinary cop or ordinary agent, and that there should be special prosecutors, but also with this extra degree of courage to go after the crooked politicians. So you'd have an investigatory arm and a prosecutorial arm. Now, actually, not a bad idea. And in a way, we really would do that by having detectives and FBI agents and drug enforcement agents and ATF agents and assigned to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they'd all be part of a 150-person team investigating a case. But you should know that the Soros special prosecutor, special investigator that was superimposed on these Eastern European countries, that he had an ungodly amount of influence over because Biden handed him, for the billions that he gave him, Biden handed over to him those countries to do with what he wanted. And all those ambassadors were really considered his ambassadors. So what happens is these two things get established. And believe it or not, I mean, this was like perfect communism, perfect 1984 doublespeak. The special prosecutor's office and this special investigator's office were there to fix cases and to get them out of the big system and get them fixed. In fact, the first day that it opened, the Attorney General visited and gave a list of the cases that now had to be dropped. And that was very common. And so now this is years later. I don't know what those offices have become. I mean, they theoretically had a good purpose. They were distorted by the corruption that exists within those governments. So yesterday, Zelensky did away with both of them. Now, of course, this has created a lot of problems because I don't know if they do good things or bad. I don't know, actually, if they do good things or bad things. I don't know if they are still the antithesis of what they're supposed to be, or they're now an honest and honorable place to do investigatory work. I just don't know the answer to that. But they are now been done away with by Zelensky, and it's caused a demonstration in the country where right now you don't need that kind of division superimposed on the other problems. You have to take care of your future. As far as the Epstein case is concerned, we were talking about earlier, the Congress has put off the vote on it, but at the same time, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States has made an appointment to go visit with Ghislaine Maxwell and see if they can get a report from her as to what happened. Even if not totally truthful, it gives you something to peg off, to take a look at that, see if it's true, see if it's true, see if it's true. And whatever excuse she comes up with, be interesting to analyze to see where the truth of it lies and where the lies come from. The more information you have, unless you're a slave to it, but if you've got an intelligent, inquiring mind, the better chance you have that you're going to be able to solve this darn thing. So I don't know how much worse the candidate in New York for mayor can be. I don't know how much the Democrat Party can take. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see the Democratic Party double-cross the state of Israel. I don't think I ever thought I would see Schumer do it. But they have, and they are. Jeffries, the speaker, is taking his time determining he's taking his time determining whether or not he should support Mondami. But Mondami's people aren't taking their time on him. Yesterday, Mondami, who was off on his Uganda vacation, bashed Jeffries over his remarks in support of the Israelis who were slaughtered on October 2014. This is one of the things that he wrote, Mondami, we're talking about. After at least 2,251 Palestinians were killed over the course of July 2014, Hakeem Jeffries got on stage at a rally in New York City and paraphrased George Wallace. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. What the hell's wrong with that? Unless you hate Israel. Well, that's what the candidate for mayor of New York does. The party is splitting apart. It'd be the best thing for it. Get away from the party of slavery, start a new party. Leave this guy in charge of the party of slavery. Also, Mondami likes to tell jokes about Jews. This one is not too long ago. This one goes back a few years. And it was, he was speaking before the Democrat Socialist of America in 2023. Some people think the little commies. If you don't clap for El Yatzem, you're a Zionist. He was referring to Lutheran pastor and Palestinian community organizer Zader El Yatzem, who ran unsuccessfully for a Brooklyn City Council seat. It's a joke, Mondami said. You don't have to clap. But Israeli supporters weren't laughing. The turning of Zionist into a slur in mainstream Western liberal specs is the most significant anti-Semitic development of the 21st century, said podcaster Blake Flayton, who posted on the video on X. There are a number of other quotes attributed to him by Flayton and Joseph Potasnik, but that you get the impression the guy is a Jew hater. The guy is a Muslim extremist apologist, and that's about as dangerous as you can get. So his race in New York now is be a very difficult one. I think Andrew Cuomo is still in the race, right, Ted?
He's still in it.
Well, there are people that are going to try to prevail upon Adams to drop out. They have something for his knees. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about, but they are, and I don't think you can talk him into dropping out. He either drops out or he doesn't. And Adams is doing, in certain respects, a good enough job so that you'd have to say you'll vote for him because he's better than the alternatives. There was one exception, and that would be Jake Mangus, who was my chief of staff, understands city government as well as anybody does. But somehow maybe you need more experience. I don't know. But let's see what happens. It hasn't been finished up yet. Now, New York is experiencing the odor of cannabis because we have it all over the place. You're not going to clean up the drug problem without cleaning up the drug dealers, but you're not going to get very far if you don't clean up and reduce the number of drug users because they follow the money, right? Well, that's correct. So I don't know if you are as interested as I am in this subject, but next week, there's going to be an asteroid that comes very, very close to the Earth. Very, very close means thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away. But we'll get to see it. So we'll let you know what kind of equipment you need to see it, okay? I think you'd all enjoy it. And I think we've covered everything that we need to for tonight so that our people are up to the games that are being playing against them. We'll be back out of at it at 7 o'clock tomorrow with the great show on Lindell TV, America's Mayor is basically called. And then this show, of course, which is near and dear to our heart because it's the first one we put together, and it's doing quite well thanks to you. And it is the America's Mayor Live, which we first began broadcasting as a Yankee simulcast. So it's gone a long way, and we have some really interesting new developments to bring up with you as we get to the end of the summer. So we want to thank you very much for listening in. We want to thank you for your attention and for your support, and we want to thank you for your support for our great president. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Well, folks, we're not done quite yet. We've got a few minutes left, so we wanted to get you guys involved here. So I'm actually working with the Chirons here as I talk to you, but let's spend a few minutes with the chat. We want to spend more time talking with you guys. We have Tim, Daryl, Sandra, Gary, Bluebird, Grandma in the chat. So we want to thank all of you, those of you that help us monitor those chat feeds. We're very thankful for that. So of course, a lot of news, right? It's been quite the week, quite the month, quite the year. President Trump's first 6 months in office, boy, he's really gotten a lot done, right, on a number of fronts. And unfortunately, the media refuses to give him credit where credit's due. So comment below. What's the president's greatest accomplishment in his first 6 months in office? We want to hear from you. So comment below. And now back to
What
mayor.
are we asking?
We're asking folks to comment below what they feel the president's greatest accomplishment to this point, his first 6 months in office. And I know that's a tough question, right? Because
Yeah.
different answers for
There's been
different
so
people.
many. I mean, I think it's closing the border so securely.
I think that's almost
it's the emergency, right? The emergency is the invasion. How many more could you tolerate?
right.
I mean, we don't even know how many. Bare minimum 12 to 15 million, maximum 20 to 22 million. 80% of whom we don't know who they are. Even the ones we let in, we don't know who they are. They're missing. We don't know where to find them. 80% of them, we don't know if they have a criminal background, illness. They were just let in. Every step we had ever taken about how to deal with immigration, we broke, and we allowed an invasion to take place. And I must say, it's really sad that the thing had kind of turned around a little. I still think the president is quite popular for what he's done about immigration, but they're trying to do these sad stories, about, oh, this poor person and that poor person and this poor person and that poor person. But the reality is there's a massive evil here that has to be dealt with. And you can't do it without making some mistakes if you're going to get these people out of this country. It's just too many of them to do it precisely. Now, remember, the ones that you're getting out of the country where you're feeling so sorry for them are people that came in here illegally anyway. Now, I agree. If this had been done in a more orderly way, if Biden hadn't victimized us in this way, there are a lot better ways to do this. But they created the emergency, so it has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with this way. If we get it under a reasonable degree of control, we can start making maybe some distinctions about who can stay, who can't stay. At this point, though, you basically got to get rid of as many people as you can. So we start with some operating room. And also, I mean, I don't know how often we're going to be successful in figuring out the good guys from the bad guys if we don't have the information. You can't do that by just looking at them. Right? So this guy Mondami has attacked the Speaker of the House, Jeffries. And he bashed Jeffries over his support for Israel. And he actually compared him to George Wallace, who was the racist governor of Alabama. After at least 2,251 Palestinians were killed over the course of July 2014, Hakeem Jeffries got on stage at a rally in New York City and paraphrased George Wallace: Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. Mondami fumed in a November 2022 X post. I mean, now on October 7 of 2023, in his attack on Israel, he went after Jeffries again. Congressman Jeffries has yet to call for a ceasefire. Congressman Jeffries has said that he seriously supports President Biden's request for an additional $14 billion in military spending. So we didn't want to support Israel against the attack. I don't know where we come up with people like this, how this happens. Well, Mondami, I think there's going to be plenty more. So just keep tuned in, and we'll figure out exactly what this communist is all about. And don't let them fool you. He is a communist. The situation with Japan and the Philippines has been settled, and we now have two very, very good trade deals with two critical partners in the effort to control China, which is a very, very good thing. I do think this is all going to lead to a Justice Department investigation of Obama. What do you think, Ted? Not just a silly house.
Yeah. Look. I mean, will we ever see true accountability?
Well, I don't know. To walk away from these, lucky she didn't give these to Coomer. He might have lost them, like he lost all of so many of the texts that were incriminating.
I mean, it'll be interesting.
I mean, here you have a whole bunch of pages of how there was no Russian involvement, all right? And then it says, the IC is prepared to produce an assessment per the president's request. Meaning one that basically says that Russia interfered. I don't know what else you need. I mean, there's plenty more. I mean, this is an ongoing process in which he perpetuated this false story that led to two impeachments, two coups. He also, I don't know if I get this joke, but here's another thing that came up about him. I guess he was speaking before the Democrat Socialists of America in 2023. If you don't clap for El Yatzem, you're a Zionist, he said. He was referring to Lutheran pastor and Palestinian community organizer Kada El Yatzem, who ran unsuccessfully for the Brooklyn City Council seat in 2017. It's a joke, Mondami 33 added. So many Jewish people who follow him say he has turned the charge of Zionism into a charge of anti-Semitism, and that he hates Jewish people. So I don't know how anyone can take this guy seriously, in that he wants to provide a government-owned grocery store or even big box store. He wants to raise income tax on the rich, and that he's also saying billionaires shouldn't be in the city. So, I mean, a combination of his raising income tax and his telling them to leave the city, like about everybody to tax. So where's he going to get the money for all the New York greed? And then the party will turn on him when he can't do that. You're going to close down Rikers Island. He's going to let out about 5,000 more violent criminals, like we don't have enough on the street. And then he's going to stick the other ones next to you in your borough. And I can go on and on about the things he's going to. I hope it has an impact, and we'll continue it. It's hard to get yourself all excited about Adams. When you do, he does stupid things, right?
Right.
So now Adams is talking about broken windows policing. And Adams says that the stink in New York from marijuana and cannabis is terrible, and they're going to do what they can to stop it. However, he was the biggest supporter of legalizing it. He told us how rich we were going to get as a result of this. Between this and gambling, we're going to become really rich. Yeah, we're also going to become Sodom and Gomorrah. And we're not getting very rich on this. We're just getting very sick on it. And you refuse to acknowledge because you're the party of 1984. So everything means the opposite. So you say, we're the party of science. And science says that marijuana is very dangerous for you, much more so than alcohol. Oh, well, everyone knows that's not true. So they're all big on legal distribution of a brain killer. Sounds smart to me, huh? I guess if you want a dependent class, it works out really, really well. The president is actually considering doing away with capital gains on the sale of a home at all. Now it's going to get down to like, 23 or 18% or something, which is very good, but he's thinking of doing it completely in order to help people in the transfer of homes. Here's a big win, Ted.
Okay.
The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee has agreed to ban transgender women from women's sports. They upgraded it on Monday. That's a big win when you consider that many of the countries involved are so left wing.
Right.
That they'd have a hard time moving that way anyway. So I want to show you something. That people might like. They might not like it. We'll see. Here. I always pick this up from the New York Post. This is from the Babylon Bee, reproduced in the New York Post. There's only two of them. The first one says, avoid getting exposed, cheating on your wife with your HR chick at a Coldplay concert with this one weird trick. I don't know if you can see what the answer is at the bottom. Don't cheat on your wife. Then the second, Hunter Biden warns that without illegal immigrants, the price of prostitutes and crack will skyrocket. This isn't just about immigration. Who do you think cleans your hotel rooms? Who cuts your grass? Who smuggles in the crack that gives you a good time on the weekends? And I know you seem to have a soft spot for the interviewer. The interviewer was one of the biggest powder puff, lay down ass slickers I've ever seen. The guy said things like pretending he was never in business with his father. He was never. He also said how terrible it was that I and Bernie Kerik went to the Delaware police and turned his dirty pictures in as child porn. Well, I'm sorry. There was child porn in it. But number two, he himself said, his own admission. How can he be so surprised when he told his father, I'm a danger to the children? And the psychiatrist seemed to accurately know all the things he was doing in the house. Where the hell did she get that from? But from the little girl who was scared. He said, I walk around nude. I walk around smoking crack. I sit in the closets and smoke it all up with crack. I talk very loud and dirty to all these girls. Now, he says that the little girl was making this up as his way out of it, except we have it. We have it contemporaneously on the hard drive. We have him doing it. We got pictures of him doing it. Endless numbers of pictures of him walking around the house with no clothes on, smoking dope all around the house, sitting down with hardly any clothes on or no clothes on, and having the children see him. We have pictures of it. So he's very, very insulted that he was painted as a pervert. You should have been in jail as a pervert, you shit, not painted as a pervert. And your old man, I guess you got it from him. I mean, who likes little children touching the hair on their legs? Well, you think that missed me, the prosecutor? You don't think I didn't get that one, Joe? Or how about the comment that there's something wrong with this family? You know, you made that comment. I can show you where it is. This family was monumentally crooked. The amounts of money are astounding, and I don't think matched anywhere in terms of the amount of bribery they got away with. But they also are a screwed up group of people. Not natural and normal people. Let's put it that way. Look how they treat the last grandchild, Davy. They don't put up a Christmas thing for her. They don't pay attention to her. They acknowledged her, but up until at least the campaign was going on, Joe had never met with his granddaughter. And you want to tell me he's a nice guy? What is nice guy based on? Bullshit? Trump is a nice guy.
Right.
He's not a nice guy. So you go over to Britain, and we have basically no freedom of speech left. They call it the woke inquisition. They're considering a bill, or clause 20 in a bill, in which they will make it a crime to make non-specific harassment statements. Banter ban, they call it. I have no idea what that means, and it's supposedly, according to this writer in the Brendan O'Neill, the writer in the Wall Street Journal, is going to ruin pubs. Nobody able to talk in a pub. You can't say trans women are men. You can't say immigration levels are too high, or you'll be censored, and I don't know, imprisoned or fined or both. I mean, isn't that Soviet stuff, Nazi stuff? So they say that Columbia handled this last anti-Jew hate assault on the Butler Library a lot better, in that they sent a lot of them out for arrest. Now, Bragg is going to probably drop the charges on all of them. If you want to take a look, you can get a picture. You can get a picture of them at the Butler Library. Exactly why you have to wear a thing around your head to protect you from the sand at the Butler Library confounds me, but there they are. Can you see them, Ted? Now, so somebody's trying to study in that library, and these jerks are in there cheering for a Hamas terrorist group to kill more Jews. Now, the idea that Columbia has switched around a lot. They did get these people arrested, but I don't know what happened to them. I don't know what happened to them. Well, I mean, we'll try to find out, but
yeah, that's unacceptable.
So it does say that 70 students have been arrested, and they are going to be punished, and they will be suspended from class as well if they're part of Columbia. And I think it's about time that they start doing that. So these people were yelling and screaming, "Free, free Palestine." They defaced the library walls. The two public safety officers were injured. They arrested altogether 81 people. including Ramona Sasgard, the 18-year-old daughter of actors Maggie Gyllenhaal and Peter Sasgard. You know, in a previous one, Representative Ilhan Omar's daughter, Isra Hurst, was arrested. So they're coming from all over. And maybe if they really crack down on it, they'll be able to do something about it. Now, this is how they cover. See if I have this one here. This is how they cover their faces. So here's one of the major leaders, Jackie Lodgson McCrae, and there you can see in the red with that. You have it up there, Ted? I don't know why I'm talking about this and it's not up there. There it is right there. That's him. Now he's charged with police arson, but he was at the rally. He's charged with burning a police car. That guy's name is Jackie Lodgson McCrae. So these are all like really high, upstanding citizens that participate in this, and the ones who, and many of them are paid for. I don't just mean the guys like the leader here, Lodgson McCrae. I mean people in general. So we'll have to see if these people are punished any more than others are.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I mean, they're all let out all the time. They're let out all the time. They're just let right out. It's really just it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. But let's hope that they're going to take it more interesting, more seriously, and therefore we'll get much better results.
Right.
Now, here's a perfect example of what we do in New York to contribute to this. This guy here was charged with torching 11 NYPD vehicles.
Wow.
11. And it cost about $800,000. And he was let out. And then he was arrested on federal charges where he set fire to 10 squad cars. And he's linked to the destruction of a statue at Columbia University. And he's walking around the streets looking for, some Jew to bat over the head. Mahmoud Khalil, who is the guy that the government was throwing out, and they had sent him down to Texas. They were throwing him out because he's been a supporter of Hamas, and he is a legal immigrant. But he's on, any illegal immigrant is on a temporary status in the country. It's a probationary status as to whether they can become citizens. Well, he was on with co-anchor Pamela Brown on CNN, where they're gonna treat you like, if you beat people up and kill them, you're a hero. Several times, Pamela Brown asked him if he'd disavow Hamas. Now, remember, Hamas is listed as a terrorist group in almost every civilized nation. His answer was straight out no. I'm very clear with condemning all civilians. I'm very straight in my position in that part. I don't understand what it means. I don't understand what the two sentences mean. much less he's very clear. He's very clear that he supports Hamas. Won't condemn him. There's a group that was caught in the city who have sold at least 70 organs, and that is being looked into for prosecution. If you think it's all one-sided, an American was killed by the genocide group of either the Bedouins or the government of Syria. He was an American, a Syrian American who happened to be part of the Druze religion. And there's a video which I should have located for you earlier, but we'll try to get it tomorrow, of him being slaughtered in cold blood. And he's an American citizen. Here's a terrible thing that just shouldn't happen, but an 18-year-old mother, which is a young mother, right? Would you say a young mother? Left her child in the car to watch Smurfs, 2-year-old child. And by the time she came back, her child was dead. I don't know. What do you say? Poor mother, or we shouldn't have done that? You got to have some kind of brain in your head, right? Just learn a lesson from it, huh? Please. Don't lock kids in cars. Don't lock dogs in cars. So I told you that the Coca-Cola is going to have some of the cheap sugar taken out, and they go, some of the chemicals that they have there, and they're going to use what they originally used, which is American water from the places in the United States where they are produced. Although I think this is produced in Mexico, but they also produce in the United States. I don't know how many of you watched Tucker. It wasn't Tucker. It was Hunter Biden being interviewed by a guy that might as well have been leaning under the couch and just whispering, Hunter, you've been clean now for 9 years, right? 9 years? Yeah, I've been clean for 9 years. Yeah. The guy was pathetic. He was an elitist. He was a snob. How you can feel sorry for him, I do not know. Everybody in the Democratic Party screwed up with his father and him. And his complaints are, if we don't have enough immigrants, who's going to shine my shoes? Who's going to make my meals? Who's going to fix my bed?
Right.
Wow. What an elitist slob.
Wow.
It's too bad that Alina Habba was removed.
Habba time.
It was a gamble. I guess they thought they could talk the courts into it. And what do you think of changing the Opera House at Kennedy Center to the Melania Trump Opera House? It would still be Kennedy Center. Some people said that he wanted to change the name of Kennedy Center. But some people are recommending the Opera House named for Melania. I think that would be nice. And there's a report in the Wall Street Journal that a group of North Koreans have assumed the identity of Americans and taken over jobs. I would imagine some of these are not, local. There are jobs overseas. I think the whole question of Syria and how we react to them is in flux right now. And I'm not sure I would put things like that into effect, but if it is into effect, let's work with it and see what we can do with it. It is, I mean, it's a delicate balance here. You don't want foreigners here. At the same time, you want foreigners here so they become used to us, become friendly with us, and we do business with them. It expands the horizons for our children. So you be back with us now.
Yeah.
Okay? You be back with us next tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Lindell TV, and 8 o'clock right here on Trusty X, with backup on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Where else, Ted?
YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram.
Any place.
X, Newsmax 2.
Just go looking for us and you'll see us. Why don't you look at all of them one night and tell us where we look best or worst? Well, thank you very, very much for listening in. We really appreciate your support. I hope you find our informational content here useful in evaluating what's going on in the world. You don't have to believe me; just take it into consideration. It can be done that way. That's okay. But we can't get into censorship and cutting people from traveling. No way. So, dear God, infuse us with more wisdom. I know you've given us a lot, and we probably wasted a lot of it, but you're an endlessly merciful God. So, and please pray for my friends and my friend's best friend who passed away almost a week ago now, and for some of the others that have died. So I pray for the people that are in harm's way. I mean, we really, really would love a world without war, wouldn't we? But it's going to take toughness to get there. So let's pray that we have the toughness. Okay? And we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, over at Lindell TV, and then here on America's Mayor Live. God bless America.
And head over to Lindell TV.
It's our purpose to bring.
I'm coming back because we got to do that right. Where should people go?
People should go to Lindell TV to see Dr. Maria, which I'm going to do right now. Watch. Boom.
All righty.
Right there's my Lindell TV.
Now sign us off again.
And now we'll sign off. Having gotten, there it is. Go to Dr. Maria on Lindell TV right there. They have an ad on right now. We'll get rid of the ad. Here we go. Skip the ad. Ooh, okay. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply